Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to explore something new. Today we're diving into a fascinating document about educational leadership and creative problem solving.
Sounds pretty academic.
It is, but you'd be surprised how relevant this is for, well, pretty much anyone. Stick with us. You might find yourself inspired to unlock some hidden creativity in your own life.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Where do we start?
Well, this document tackles something I think a lot of people believe, that creativity is just for those born geniuses. Turns out it's not about some innate talent.
You mean anyone can be creative?
That's what this document argues. It's more about a specific skill set. In fact, it says modest intelligence is enough for creative leadership.
Hold on. Modest intelligence. Are they saying you don't need to be super smart to lead creatively?
That's exactly what it's saying. I always thought you needed like a genius level IQ to be truly innovative. But this doc suggests maybe that's not the case.
So what's more important than just raw brain power?
Well, it emphasizes the importance of asking the right questions. Not just having all the answers, but being able to frame the problem in a way that leads to creative solutions.
I see. So it's about curiosity and the ability to see things from different angles.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And being well-informed. You need a solid foundation of knowledge to build on, but it's not just about accumulating facts and figures. It's about being able to connect those dots in new and innovative ways.
And this document, did it give any examples of how to do that?
It does, and this is where it gets really interesting. It talks about the role of the unconscious mind in creativity.
Wait, are we talking about like Freud and the subconscious? Because that's a whole other deep dive.
Not exactly. It's more about how our brains process information even when we're not consciously focusing on a problem. Think about those aha moments you get, like when you're in the shower or taking a walk.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's
Yeah.
like the solution just pops into your head out of nowhere.
Exactly. This document suggests that those are our unconscious minds at work, making those creative connections behind the scenes. So it's not just about, forcing ourselves to be creative. It's about creating the right conditions for those sparks to ignite.
Fascinating. So how do we actually do that? Does this document give any practical advice?
It does, and this is where those skills come in. It emphasizes the importance of breaking problems down, almost like a detective gathering clues.
Interesting. So instead of looking at this big, overwhelming challenge, you break it down into smaller, more manageable pieces.
Exactly. It's less intimidating, and it allows you to see those connections and potential solutions you might have missed otherwise.
I can see how that would be helpful. Any other techniques they recommend?
One that really resonated with me is the idea of switching from words to visuals. Sometimes words can feel limiting, but when you start to visualize a problem, it can unlock a whole new way of thinking.
Oh, like sketching things out or creating a mind map.
Exactly. It's a simple but powerful shift that can spark some serious creative breakthroughs.
This is giving me so many ideas already. But I'm also curious about the flip side. What about those times when we feel stuck? What are some of the roadblocks to creativity this document identifies?
Well, it has this whole anti-creativity checklist, things like resistance to change, over-reliance on logic, that kind of thing. And, I think I'm guilty of all of them at some point or another.
Well, just being aware of these blocks is a big step, right? Once we recognize them, we can start to consciously challenge them.
Exactly. But the question is, how do we actually break free from these patterns? What are some concrete steps we can take to unlock our creative potential?
Well, that's what we'll explore in the next part of our deep dive. This document offers a whole toolkit of methods, and you might be surprised how simple some of them are.
Okay, I'm ready for the good stuff. Let's unleash that creativity.
Sounds good to me. Welcome back. So, ready to unlock that creative potential?
Definitely. Give me the secrets.
Well, one of the things this document really emphasizes is giving yourself slack, like time for reflection.
So, even when I feel super busy, I should schedule in downtime. Isn't that counterintuitive?
It might seem that way, but think about it. We're constantly bombarded with information, right?
Yeah.
Our brains, they need time to process, time to make those connections, to really let ideas simmer.
I get that. Sometimes my best ideas come when I'm not even trying to think, like when I'm walking the dog or just zoning out.
Exactly. And you know what else this document points out? Something that really holds us back: fear of failure. We get so caught up in being right all the time that we're afraid to try new things, to experiment, to take risks.
Yeah, that's me. I'm a total perfectionist. Sometimes it's paralyzing.
Well, this document has a great antidote for that. It suggests celebrating errors. seeing them as learning moments.
So instead of getting bummed about messing up, I should view it as feedback.
Exactly. It takes the pressure off,
Mm-hmm.
allows you to be more playful, more experimental.
Makes sense. So what about when I'm working with a team? Any tips for sparking group creativity?
Well, one thing that's highlighted is encouraging discussion and even disagreement. We often shut down ideas way too quickly, both our own and those of others.
It's true. I've been in so many meetings where someone tosses out a crazy idea and it's just dismissed. What if that idea had potential, though?
Exactly.
Mm.
This document argues for creating environments where it's safe to share, even those unconventional, out there ideas.
I like that. Embrace that diversity of thought, even if it causes a little friction at first.
Right. And there's this fascinating detail in the document about how newly formed groups are often the most creative.
Oh, really? Why is that?
One theory is those rigid hierarchies haven't set in yet. They're more likely to challenge the status quo, experiment, take risks.
Interesting. It's like they haven't learned to be afraid yet.
Yeah. Now, another technique this document mentions is forcing yourself to come up with multiple solutions. For any problem, it's easy to settle for the first workable idea, but that can limit us.
Right. It's like we find a path that works and we stop looking. But we could be missing out on a better solution.
Exactly. It's about exploring those less traveled paths, seeing where they might lead. You never know what you'll discover.
Reminds me of brainstorming. You just throw at every idea, no matter how wild.
Exactly. And this document goes further, talking about formalizing this process within organizations. Having systems for idea generation.
So not just random brainstorming, but making it part of the structure.
Right. Dedicated sessions, maybe?
Hmm.
Or even just a culture where people feel comfortable speaking up,
Yeah.
sharing their thoughts.
Okay, that makes sense for fostering innovation, but it's not just about having ideas, right? It's about what we do with them.
Absolutely. This document talks about study teams, evaluation groups, bringing people from different areas together to tackle specific problems.
It's like cross-pollination, different expertise coming together to create something new.
Exactly. And these teams need autonomy, freedom to experiment, to try different approaches.
You can't force creativity, right? It
Yeah.
needs the right conditions to flourish.
Well said. And that brings us to another major theme in this document, overcoming those mental blocks.
Okay, let's talk about those.
Well, the document lists 6. Resistance to change, reliance on rules, fear, self-doubt, over-reliance on logic, and black and white thinking. Oh, and over-reliance on practicality and efficiency.
Wow, guilty of at least half of those.
Yeah.
Especially the logic and practicality part. I tend to overthink.
That's okay. We all have our tendencies. The key is recognizing them.
Right, so it's about understanding our strengths and weaknesses, not trying to be someone we're not.
Exactly. And for each of these hindrances, this document offers remedies, like to counteract resistance to change. Pick an organizational rule and break it.
Whoa, okay, that's bold. But I like it. Questioning those assumptions.
Right. Of course, within ethical and legal boundaries. But the point is to challenge the shoulds and see if there's a better way.
Be a thoughtful rebel. I like that. What about other remedies?
Well, another one is indulging in fantasy, wild thinking, especially when you're feeling bogged down.
So give ourselves permission to daydream, even if it seems unproductive.
Yes. You never know where those playful explorations might lead. Could spark a new insight, a solution you wouldn't have seen otherwise.
I see a pattern emerging here, breaking free from rigid structures, expectations, embracing playfulness, curiosity.
You're getting it. And that's the essence of this document. Creativity isn't about formulas. It's tapping into that human capacity for imagination, for innovation. And it's available to everyone.
I love that. It's like we all have this creative spark, this potential waiting to be unleashed.
And the document mentions one of the biggest motivators for innovating, the joy of doing something new.
Not about fame or fortune, but the joy of creation itself.
Exactly. And that joy, it's not limited to artists or inventors. Anyone can experience it.
This is eye-opening. I feel like I'm seeing creativity in a whole new light. Not some mystical gift, but a skill.
That's what we were hoping for. And in the final part of our deep dive, we'll explore how to integrate these principles into daily life, turning knowledge into action.
Okay, can't wait for the grand finale. All right, we're back for the final part of our creativity deep dive. After the last 2 parts, I'm feeling seriously inspired. You.
Me too. It's amazing how much practical stuff we can pull from this document, even though it's about education, right?
All right. And we've covered a lot, the genius myth, the unconscious mind, those roadblocks we all hit. But I'm ready to put this all into action. How do we actually, boost that creative potential?
Well, first thing to remember, and this might sound obvious, but it's key creativity. It's a skill, not some inborn talent.
Okay, so anyone can learn it.
Exactly. It just takes practice.
Yeah.
The right mindset. You don't have to
Yeah.
wait for inspiration. You can create the conditions for it.
Love that. So it's like I'm not limited by some natural level of creativity I think I have.
Nope. You can train those creative muscles, just like you'd train physical ones. And one of the best exercises, going back to what we talked about, is problem breakdown.
Right, breaking that big challenge into smaller, more manageable chunks.
Exactly. Whether it's work, personal stuff, whatever, that principle applies. And don't forget the visual. Sometimes getting out of those words, sketching things out, it can really help.
That's my jam. I'm a visual person, so that resonates big time.
See, it's not just for artists. It's a tool anyone can use. But once we've got our problem laid out, we got to deal with something else. Those inner critics.
Oh, you mean the voices telling me I'm not creative enough? Yeah, I know them well.
They're liars. Based on fear, limiting beliefs, they don't reflect what you're truly capable of.
Okay, so how do I shut them up? I want to believe in my creative abilities.
It takes work, but it's possible. First, just notice those thoughts. Acknowledge them, but don't judge. Then try to reframe them. Turn that negative into a positive.
So instead of, I'm not creative, I say,
Something like, I'm curious. I'm open to new possibilities.
like a mental pep talk.
Exactly. And another thing, cultivate that playful curiosity. Remember, the joy of doing something new. Tap into that. Try new stuff. Explore.
Oh, that's a good point. I get so stuck in routine, I forget about the things that actually make me excited to learn.
Those are the things that fuel creativity. And those aha moments, those flashes of insight, pay attention to them. Write them down. Don't let them slip away.
It's like our brains are always working. Even when we're not consciously being creative, we just got to be ready for those sparks.
Exactly. And last thing, creativity. It's not a destination. There's no finish line where you're suddenly creative. It's a journey. Embrace the process. Have fun with it.
This whole deep dive has been so inspiring, not just understanding creativity better, but actually having tools to use it.
That was the goal. To show it's not this magical thing only some people have. It's in all of us.
So as we wrap up, any final words of wisdom for those starting their creative journey?
Be bold. Be curious. Don't be afraid to try stuff, even if it seems crazy. And most importantly, be kind to yourself. Remember, it's about the journey. Enjoy it.
Fantastic advice. Thanks for joining us on this creativity exploration, everyone. We hope you've been inspired to unlock your own potential.
Until next time, keep creating.